Up to this point in the course, we've covered mostly the core components of Python in the sense of how to work with it and how to use the language. We're now going to talk about some expanded functionality using modules, built-in modules to be precise, which are parts of the Python language that are not included in our Python files when we run them. They are installed with Python by default, but we need to import these modules at the top of our Python file to be able to use their functionality. And they are developed by the core developers of Python. There are a few different ways that happens. I won't get too into that. But essentially, there's a certain group of people or groups of people that are able to contribute to the actual Python code base and add to it. And these modules are part of that. They're in the actual Python code base, and we just have to import them to use them. So lots of functionality. We're going to talk about various modules, and these just expand what we can do with Python. But why not include everything at once? Well, a few reasons. It makes our programs more modular if we're able to only import what we need. Uses less resources, memory, for example, if we're not importing or loading up in every Python file all of the possible Python functionality. It also gives us quicker startup time for programs. And there's a website here we'll take a look at that lists all of the standard modules. Currently, there's around 200 or so. And I will add more modules to this section, or to our built-in modules section, because a lot of the growth of the course will be around that. There's a lot of functionality with built-in modules. There's also third-party modules, which are not included with Python, but that we can install separately. We'll get into that later in the course. A lot of functionality in those as well. But stay tuned. This will regularly be growing. So let's take a look at what some of these modules are by going to this website here. This is a list, the Python module index. Again, these come installed with Python. We just have to import them to tell each Python program that we're using that we want these modules to load up. So one of the modules that we'll be using is called OS. This is the first one we'll talk about. So if I look here, it says miscellaneous operating system interfaces. And as we see, we could scroll. There's lots of modules here, a couple hundred, as I said. But if we click on OS, there's a lot to this module. Provides a portable way of using operating system dependent functionality. And we see how much this scrolls, but we see all these different methods of OS, of this module, and there's a lot to it. So all we're going to do when we talk about these modules is go over the basic functionality, because I want you to be aware of them, and I want you to understand that if you have a use case to use something in Python, there's most likely some sort of module that you can consume to make that easier, to make your development easier, something that has done what you're wanting to do. Just think about how long Python's been around. There's a lot of things that people have wanted to do. If it's most likely that you're not trying to do, or that we're not trying to do something completely new when we're writing our programs. So lots of functionality here with these modules. Again, they're built into Python. When we download it, they come included. We just have to import them to use them. So that's an introduction to our built-in modules. And continuing on, we'll talk about a few of them, including the OS module.